Welcome everyone to the Wednesday Night Live. I don't know. I must have pissed somebody off on Instagram because I'm not able to go on Instagram for the last week. So I got to figure that out. I'm gonna have to check my email, see what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on that end. So I might be a StreamYard, our Instagram conflict as far as streaming keys. I'm not sure. But we are here. Welcome everyone in the chat. Lindsey is joining us. Mr. Tim is here. Michelle is here. And maybe, just maybe, Tim, he will grace us with his presence. Mr. Phillip.
He said he would.
He said he would. He said he would.
He said he would. He said he would. He said he would.
He said he would have, could have, should have. But what?
Maybe if and maybe.
It's a disappointment if he doesn't show up. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if we rub our Phillip lamp, he'll come out.
Yeah. He's been a busy man. He's been dealing with some
I ain't
family
rubbing
stuff.
nothing.
So yeah. But I have a few announcements. We are going to, for starters, we're going to be cutting the show down to 1 hour through the summer months here. A lot of us have things going on. I do. And there's not much really going on. So we're going to cut the show down to an hour. We're going to do our best to do it in an hour. We sometimes get a little crazy, but we're going to be doing it about an hour each Wednesday for throughout the summer. And that's about it. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen up there. What are we talking about today? We are talking about, let me open
anything we can talk about in an hour, John.
Right. Goodbye, CASAA. U.S. Consumers THR Group will be shutting down. We're going to go into that and share a little bit of CASAA stories. And then also some good news out of Texas. I guess it's good news.
Kind of. They're going to, better news out of Nevada that the building killed this one. Got tweaked a lot, and they're still urging for a veto. It's still confusing right now.
Yeah, that's what I
know what's going on with it, to tell you the truth. I haven't had time to really digest it. So
yeah, I think he got a lot of backlash. We'll get into that. I think I'm not sure who's the name of the guy that put this bill together, but he got a lot of backlash and on Twitter and elsewhere for the marijuana thing. And I loved it because
that was the Chinese thing, because you did a carbon, just a carbon, carte blind. I can't pronounce anything today. You just did a blanket ban on all Chinese vapes, pretty much.
Yeah. It was funny because he got hammered. He was talking about the gummies and all this other stuff and how he didn't want children to get it. But then again, they just slammed him with, I did too. I said, I guess I can walk into a store and buy 12 bottles of Jack Daniels and nobody's going to ask me or question me on why I'm buying. Nobody's going to ask me any of that stuff. And I love it because I had no idea they had automated ammo machines in Texas, which was kind of baffling to me, dude, that you can actually go to a machine that looks like an ATM machine, put your credit card in there and buy ammo with, no supervision, no nothing else, just a machine sitting there with ammo. So I was a little surprised by that. But real quickly, we're going to go into how your week is going, and we're going to try to go through these as quick as possible. We're going to start with Miss Lindsey there. Lindsey, you're back. You're home. How's been being? She went somewhere and she comes back to paradise. So it's exactly.
Florida.
People
I remember what's on all my pictures. And then
he's on the beach all weekend.
Yeah,
I know.
Hey, I deserved it. I had jet lag pretty bad because it was a really quick trip. I was only gone for 4 days, and I probably spent more time on airplanes and in airports than actually being on the ground and everything. But successful trip. It went really well, and everything. I got back, and now it's just back to building up the website and everything, which is
Yeah.
I'm not a website builder, so every time I stumble upon new stuff, and then I just get into my head. It's like, oh, we got to do this for all the state pages. So, and I know I'm not satisfied until they're all done. So,
yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into just not even just designing, but Tim does, and myself. That's why I gave up on my page. I was like, okay,
I don't do them.
It's just
I mean, hey, there's just too much data out there that can't just go away and stuff.
Right.
Else is doing it, so and I got a new skill I can add to my resume. Website builder.
Hey, well,
that's awesome.
Certified. Michelle, another one that was Paradise. How is your week going?
It's going good. It's going good.
You get beach time. Have you put in any beach time in?
I went I go in the mornings, but during the summer, unfortunately, there's too many people. There's too many kids. There's too many, adults. There's just too many people. Oh my God, there's too many people. And everybody has their music, and everybody has their clan with them, and so I go in the mornings, and I pretty much just stay at the back of the beach, and that way when I'm ready to leave, I just leave. And me and my dog go, and I can't take the dog on the beach where I go. I mean, there are places for dogs on the beach, but I don't take her over there because there's too many wild dogs, and mine's old.
Wild dogs.
They're just
they let them off leash, so they can go anywhere. If I did that with my old dog, gone. Gone.
Yeah.
So but I do go to the beach. I've been there. I've done that. So my dog used to be a runner when she was younger, but she'd go if she saw the beach. She'd love it. And she comes back at me, and she looks at me, and she play bows to me, and then she takes off towards me, and then she goes right around me and turns around real quick and goes, "You can't get me, can you?"
I watched the people at the park that let them loose a little bit, and then they're chasing them for about 30 minutes, and I'm just like,
so they get their workout.
I told them, I said, you can buy a 15-foot leash. They're like, really? I can? I said, yeah. I said, until you train your dog, I suggest you get a 15-foot leash, and this way you can still at least run around a little bit.
See, mine's old, and she's deaf, and she can't see good. So, there's no way, unless
like
she sees my hand command, then she's not going to come back. But that's okay.
How's your week, Tim?
Week's been good. Other than the adventures in HOA, I got teenager issues already. So
yes,
you know how that goes. They're jumping fences, staying late after hours, drinking alcohol.
Hell yes.
Although I'll have to give them some credit. None of them were vaping. So, it is true. The statistics are down. The teenagers are not vaping. They're into Fireball and passing it around.
Oh yeah, Fireball. Yeah, you get to that one age in high school. Yeah, I think it's your junior year. You got introduced to Fireball, and it's like, wow, this is great. It tastes like cinnamon.
They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Anyway, but big announcement today. My eldest wiener dog turned 10 today, so everybody wish Harley a very happy 10th birthday. If you're my friend on Facebook, you can go see her cute little pictures in her birthday hat. Yep. She looks like that, just a bigger stomach.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's it. It's been a pretty average week for this kid.
Yeah. I can't wait till you have to compensate some vape from some teenagers.
What's up?
How many kids do you have, and how old are they?
I have two children's. I have one who's 10 and one who is 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's talking about dogs, right? You know that.
Yeah, I don't have real kids, John.
No, I
just
I
have a 4-legged variety.
Okay, you're talking about the neighborhood kids drinking and everything.
Yeah. No, they weren't dogs down at the pool drinking. Those were other people's children.
Your birthday.
Other people's children's were acting up. So.
Tim's like those damn dogs from that poker fucking video.
Exactly. Yeah. Like out there, 6 dogs around a table passing Fireball,
playing fucking poker.
Yep.
Oh my goodness!
Too.
Yeah. I know Tim can't wait to confiscate some new vapes from the children's.
I want to know what they're vaping. I hope it's something good.
Yeah. Hopefully it's mango, right, Tim?
Yeah. If it's mango, I'm taking it.
It's mango.
Mango jewel.
Yeah, mango. I'm doing Mexican mango today. My week's been the same. Not much going on. Covering, working, and getting my home prepared for my grandchildren for time being. So I'm excited for that. My dog broke my favorite bowl. I'm a guy, but I still have a favorite bowl. Okay, people, don't judge me. I still have my favorite. And there was some French fries left in it, and it was on a table, and it's a huge porcelain bowl. And he got up there and he broke it last night. And I got home. I didn't even notice it until this morning. And he knew. I was like, why is he avoiding me? He didn't, usually when he sees me, he can't wait to, jump up and lick me and all this other stuff. But he was like hiding and crunching under the table. And I'm like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, there's my bowl on the ground, all shattered. I was like, go outside.
But then you know that it's truly an Italian dog. Don't you guys have a custom where you break dishes and shit?
Yeah, but not that one. Not that one.
Did it have the two handles, one on each side?
No. It was
like
celebrating early.
It was a modern one, but it was just one that I liked. That was microwavable. It was heavy duty, and it was just a really good porcelain bowl. And he shattered it, so he's in timeout.
Take him back.
I was gonna take him to the husky farm and see if they would take him. No, your parents. The dog went to the farm. He went to the farm. Oh, you're all lovey-dovey. The truth is, he's buried in the backyard. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Timmy,
unfortunately,
you know what time it is, Tim.
Yeah. It's not RBA time. Too much to Curtis Clemens' chagrin. We promised him we'd do RBAs this week, but John and I failed. But that's okay. But Curtis, you know what I have to say to that? You know what I have to say.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live RBA show for Curtis Clemens in the house. Matter of fact, Curtis Clemens is the first one out of the gate. Good to see you, Curtis. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show. Who else? I got to scroll a little bit.
He must have got into the cocaine early.
He was challenging our next wonderful guest on the show. He was challenging. He's like, "Where are you? You're supposed to be first." And Mallory, do it your damn self. Said, "I can't always be first." That's right, Mallory. Don't worry about that. Don't let Curtis pressure you. He was like that kid in high school that was like all about the peer pressure thing. You can still to be second. It's okay.
Do it, kid. Do it.
You do what you do, you Mallory. You do you. That's right. On the show.
We don't listen to what boys tell us to do.
Yeah, exactly. We got Robert, not on a billboard lawyer, in the house. Good to see you, Robert. Hi, Robert. How are you? Welcome to the show. Always good to see you. We got a new face. We got James. I don't know. I got to come up with the middle name really quick. Spillane. Yeah. James, not Mickey. Spillane is in the house. Good to see you, James.
Hi, James.
How are you, James? Welcome to the show. I got to get through all of Curtis's chit chat. Okay, that's it. We got to
say hello if you're out there.
If you're out there, say hello, wave, say hi.
Let me double check too, make sure that we're not having issues on Twitter side, and let me check that real quick, guys, and make sure that's working. And yes, it says we are live on Twitter. Okay, all right, we are live on Twitter. Unfortunately, we can't see your comments, those that are on Twitter. So. Either go to YouTube, Facebook. Don't go to Instagram because it's not up.
Are we on Twitch?
Twitch. No, Twitch. Yeah,
I can't do
Twitch. Twitch has got a little bit of an issue. I don't know. I'm not a big enough channel, so every time I do a video and myself, or Lindsey or Michelle grab their vape, they block the video. So. They don't like vaping on Twitch. Yeah, even though 80% of the gamers are vaping.
Well, makes sense, but they're like, there's a lot. Twitch is pretty young. They 15-year-olds.
Yeah,
and I gotta make sense on that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. But I guess they're bigger channels, so they get away with a little more than say the average channel does on there. So. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think even Grim used to get some shit on there for vaping in his videos when he would do his Twitch gaming videos. So yeah, it's
Twitch needs to lighten up. There are people cheating in games and showing cleavage and all kinds of stuff.
Well, there's girls who got away with like dressing half naked by being in a hot tub or something.
I was gonna do a Twitch gaming channel where I was. I was going to do a Twitch channel where I gamed from my hot tub too, but I figured nobody wanted to see that.
We didn't want to see those kinds of games, John. Pocket pool is out of style. Pocket pool is out of style.
Oh, Jesus. Timmy, Texas lawmakers passed toned down version of vape bill. That is our first one. We're going to get into that one first.
Right. Ironically, that was the third one on my list, but that's okay. I know how to move tabs around. I've been playing with this Google thing for a while.
You know what's up. You know
how to do that. All right, Texas lawmakers. All right, so what we got? Well, we got the Vaporesso Cross, the Cross 5 and the Cross 5 Mini. So if you looking for a new AIO, there you go.
There it is, 3.0 version 3.0.
What's the tank capacity? We don't know. All right, go look online. I'm sure you can figure that shit out. All right, Texas lawmakers pass a toned down version of vape bill. Let's find out what toned down actually means. Over the weekend, the Texas state legislature backed down from passing a bill that would have banned virtually every mass market vaping product available in the U.S. Instead, state lawmakers approved a compromise that will outlaw pre-filled Chinese disposable vapes. Well, we knew you guys were gunning for that anyway, but leave the refillable products untouched. Right on. Yeah, leave the refillables on there. Hey, look who's here. Phillip Kirschberg
in the house.
All right, quick. Do you want to ask? How's your week, Phillip?
How's your week?
You got Phillip? 30 seconds.
Damn.
He can't hear us. You can't hear.
So move on because we're
okay. All right, moving on. All right, we're on a time crunch here. We're on a time crunch. So. A firestorm of opposition from vape and tobacco companies, libertarian-leaning conservatives, and consumers. Who are consumers? They're consumers who helped turn the tide. The original Senate bill, which passed April 23rd, would have banned products manufactured in China. Well, I think everything's manufactured in China. And was supported by tobacco company Altria Group. Shocker there, because Altria's Enjoy vaping products are assembled in other Asian countries using Chinese parts. Doesn't that equal the same thing? But not technically manufactured in China.
Really Malaysia's cool, you know?
Exactly. Tim, we've been using that line for how long? Parts from China, but manufactured in the U.S. So that's the huge difference,
Yeah, so let's do the same thing. Just ship all the Chinese parts over here. We'll put it together, and then we're good. But the House version of SB 2024, which passed May 28th after last-minute amendments, would have even banned Altria's vape products. They
didn't want that. No.
Yeah, Altria said, no, we don't like that. Let's spend some money and change that verbiage. The House version would have prohibited any vaping product wholly or partly manufactured in China, or that contains any part or component manufactured in China. The language was so broad, it would have included not just disposable vaping products made and filled in China, but every product that contains a single component produced in a Chinese factory, including plastic cases, mouthpieces, coils and wires, switches, and even batteries. That would have prohibited virtually all refillable devices, including mods, vape pens, pods, and tanks, atomizers, and cannabis carts. Because the two versions of the bill differed substantially, a conference committee of lawmakers from both state houses was assigned to reach a compromise, which it did. The conference version of SB 2024 then passed both houses in separate votes Sunday. It will now go to Governor Greg Abbott for signature or veto. The final version of the bill bans Chinese products only if they contain Chinese-made e-liquid or other consumable substances. What are these other consumable substances? THC? Does that come from China too? Is China a prime exporter of THC?
Who knows?
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know. They're a prime exporter of everything. Okay, have you been to a Walmart lately?
The new language is similar to the PMTA registry law recently passed in Tennessee, banning the sale of Chinese disposables that are filled with e-liquid before export. The new Texas law will, if signed by the governor, allow the sale of Chinese-made vape devices that are filled with American-made e-liquid. How about this? How about this? Let's just make disposables refillable, and then we make like charger cartridges in the US with American-made e-liquid. You get your little disposable, and then you inject it into the disposable device, throw away the injector device, and then you throw away the disposable when you're done.
Well, one of the workarounds that New Zealand did was like, if you charge it, it's not considered a disposable.
Right.
I mean, yeah, which I mean, I think that's why they all come. But also, yeah, I mean, they have enough liquid in them that you're going to have to charge them, especially with all the stupid crap that they do that goes to your battery. I mean, we got to have all this stuff.
All these messy contingents. The law will allow the sale of current FDA authorized vape products, which are all made in Asia but filled in U.S. factories, as are Juul and some smaller independent American vape manufacturers. The final bill will still ban the sale of vapes in packages with child appealing or food-like imagery. Vapes shaped like other products, highlighters, phones. Where do they fucking get this shit? I have not seen disposables that look like highlighters or phones. And products containing cannabinoids, kratom, which I think is like a new thing, right? Isn't kratom like a new thing? And some other substances. The Texas legislature adjourns its session today. And there's a mini 3K from Ergo if you're interested in that.
Watermelon kiwi. Go. You're in trouble today, dog. I will give them credit. They are getting smarter when it comes to writing these laws, and they're starting to really understand our products, I think. And maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not sure, but they're starting to make more sense when they write these things. I mean, there's no more loopholes, it seems like, right?
Oh no, there's always loopholes.
Okay, oh gosh.
Yeah, but sometimes these loopholes, like we see here, benefit the industry, and who's paying to keep this alive is Altria. So Altria is going to make sure there's a few loopholes there that are going to help them out, as far as the no pre-filled e-liquid device, which are pretty much all these, right? So
You know what? I just wish the tobacco manufacturers would be actually going after the FDA more with the HTP products. Because we have only one version of that in the States, one company, and it's like a crappy version and everything. It's like they're like third generation. It's like the shuffle, okay, instead of having the iPod and everything. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And you go to, I was just in Europe, so the amount of the other brands that are out there, you're not going to fully get people to switch over with just one product. This isn't Lord of the Rings with one vape or one HTP to rule them all. Okay, I mean, it's like, we live in a country where you've got like 20 different places for fried chicken alone. I mean, even McDonald's is bringing back its chicken strips. So,
will it be real chicken though? That's the question.
Never.
Fried chicken, yes. And that's terrible for you. I don't see a lot of rules and regulations going into place. I mean, and that's what I think that we're going to see next year too, because the FDA is not really doing anything as far as authorizing products. They are pretty much just sitting there and doing compliance. Is all I've seen, and seizures and stuff. So I think you're going to see a lot more push at the state level next year with both sides. I think you're going to see flavor bans come out again. And I think you're going to see these vape directory bills.
Yeah. I wonder how many companies are still actually buying the devices and pre-filling them here. I can only think of a few that are in Texas. And I know that they've been on the show. I can't remember the name right now.
50 bars.
Ruthless does. I think Ruthless buys devices from China and then pre-fills them here. So they would get a
Biddy do that in Florida?
I don't know.
I thought they did, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Phillip, welcome back. Hope everything is well.
It's good to be back. Things are as well as they could be expected.
Good. I saw you had some jazz. You had participated in a jazz festival. It was in your backyard?
More along the lines of out-of-work musicians, but yes.
Oh,
I don't know exactly what they were playing.
Nice.
There was a guy up there with a kazoo, and he was fabulous. But I think in general, hey, support localized music.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
We have it's called Garage Day here, and it's downtown in that area, and each house, every other house on the block has a local band playing on in their driveway, and it's like 6-7 blocks long, and you just walk around, or they got beer out there and food out there, and you just walk from house to house and listen to jazz, rock, contemporary, everything that you can possibly imagine is out there. And it's pretty cool.
John, as you well know, I am not accustomed to drinking alcohol, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds dangerous. It sounds dangerous. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Hey, well, they're at the park right
the color in the glass, when the ice is just sort of like wisping around,
participation.
Like the color of it. Yeah. I know.
Where was I? But yes, that was lovely. The violinist, actually, that was a full-size violin. She was extraordinary in terms of her ability to just improvise. That was impressive.
Yeah. The music scene pretty big there in Alabama.
In Birmingham, actually in Birmingham, Muscle Shoals. I'm pretty sure you've all heard of that place.
Yeah.
And I would say yes.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama's got like a bunch of the Delta blues and everything, and the juke and everything.
Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals sound like Rob Roberts. Yeah,
There really isn't anyone who didn't at some point record there who was big in, let's just say, between the 60s and early 80s. So yeah. And well before that as well. But yes, Rob Roberts is a encyclopedia on everything to do with the history of blues and up to current more progressive acts. Everyone is recorded around that area. It's in the greater Huntsville area, but Muscle Shoals is
Lawrence, Alabama. It's not a big place at all, but it's
I mean, Huntsville, Florida. It's getting to be pretty big. Birmingham is a much larger. Sticking with my real, yes, thank you very much. Back to Delta Blues. So I think it's important. There are a lot of bands, a lot of my close friends I played with in high school, that they opened up for the Foo Fighters, a lot of these people. And, they had their, chance, and it's just being, a up and coming band out of Birmingham has not worked out well. So let's just say, unless the name of your band is Alabama, it's a little harder to, make it big out of Birmingham than it might be out of Austin, etc.
I don't go to Montgomery. You could do that Montgomery Brawl.
Sure.
Sorry, that's really good. That's a really good beat.
As you well know, I'm the kind of person who's open to suggestions. So
yeah. Real quick, your thoughts on this Chinese ban on Chinese products in Texas. You think he signs this through, Phillip?
You're saying the governor, Abbott, signed it?
Abbott signed it.
Okay, so as far as I know, this was a relatively charitable version of what they wanted, which was a full-on ban on everything. Even, I guess, Altria and Reynolds overstepped to the point where their products were going to be banned outright. So I think that this is a much better outcome than was originally intended. So that being said, I don't know that there are that many Chinese-made e-liquids that are, they're not sweeping the nation as far as I know. And it does, Lindsey, I might have to consult with you on this one, but it does still make for a market where you can buy devices that are made in China. Simply, and that's, as far as I know, all the e-liquids, that I'm aware of that I use are made here. The pods that they are filled in, whether, they be refillable or pre-filled, are made in China, Indonesia, various places, mostly China.
I just want to know how they're going to enforce it. I mean, and like Texas, first of all, has a really bad youth fentanyl epidemic. A couple years ago, kids are passing, they're dying like left and right, especially in like these communities. You can't even control that. How are you going to control this? But it's in every single gas station. I mean, what are you going to put everybody in jail on this one? I mean, it's just kind of like, you know, and I think personally that it got, because Texas was kind of like a last hurrah, because the companies spent money pushing this, spending a lot of money in other states, and they didn't get what they wanted. And so, I mean, it's just like, oh crap, like we got to go, and they've got shareholders and everything. So, and yeah, and again, with the changing of the FDA leadership and not knowing what the hell's going on there, I mean, yeah, I think we're going to see more of this type of legislation. And especially now, because you got competing companies now. Okay, this isn't just like big tobacco versus, you know, vape or even big vape. This is big tobacco versus big tobacco versus big tobacco, and then vape's thrown in here. Big vape somewhere over here. Chinese vape is way over here. I mean, there's like so many players in this game.
It's kind of become a goddamn circus. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
It's a freaking circus. This looks like the 2016, like, you know, election. Yeah,
I apologize for cursing.
My thing is, how much of the actual nicotine comes from China? I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Does anybody know?
Nicotine itself is relatively, I mean, actually cheap.
But it is. But when it comes from China, in other words, how much do we actually make here in the States? I think most of it comes from China.
I think it needs to be made here in the States.
Actually, that would be a good Char question.
That's my question.
From a cost margin perspective, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to outsource your nicotine production overseas. It doesn't make any sense.
I agree, but I'm not sure if factories actually making it here. I mean, I'm sure that there are some, but I don't know how much of it is actually made here, and that's the scary part for me.
I don't know exactly where they imported it. When I did people's PMTAs back in 2020, you know, we had to submit all the ingredients and everything. I don't think we ever really submitted the ingredients of where they came, their origin, besides having to get, it might have been in there, but I don't think it was actually, at least not in mine. We did the skinny PMTAs. It's mostly just to be plain kosher.
I watched a video not too long ago, well, maybe a couple years ago now, actually, but it was of one of the, and I can't remember the manufacturers, but it was here in Florida. Anyway, he was saying that all of his nicotine came from China.
Yeah, it says leader is India in manufacturing nicotine. So
I don't know how it is now.
And India bans e-cigarettes. Go figure.
Yeah. We'll ban it, but we'll make that nicotine, baby.
That's smart policy, actually. Not really. When you see that they have, India has probably about like 237 million tobacco users, actually. So that's like almost the population of the United States. Yeah, it is a lot. And it's tobacco. Their big thing is like gutka and like this really like heavy smokeless tobacco. But yeah.
Yeah, for years now, the vape ban in India has literally been destroying my brain. It's that absurd and, well, frankly, deadly. And
I was reading about Mexico today. I wrote a piece about Mexico today, and it was insane. Like they banned e-cigarettes back in 2008, but then it really, you know, it wasn't really super enforced. But then the president comes out in 2020 and bans
constitutional amendment. Actually, I think.
But 2020 he did an executive order, and then 2024 became a constitutional amendment. But even during that time period, the cartel started picking it up, and I found the story where I guess these teenagers got paraded around in Sonoma territory naked with a sign sitting here saying, "This is what happens when I didn't ask for permission for selling vapes."
When it became an addendum to the Constitution, I sort of thought to myself, yeah, that sounds a bit like organized crime.
Well, it's an organized crime, but I was finding, so I did the article, in 2002, their health minister, like he did the first cigarette tax in like 20 years or something. And he was in 2003 up for being the WHO Director General or whatnot. And then it went to John, I can't pronounce his last name. I want to say he was Korean. And so he did this cigarette tax. And then in 2004, they signed the FCTC. And not one week later, they signed an agreement with tobacco companies. The tobacco companies would give them $400 million over the next two and a half years, as long as they, they go to healthcare programs, as long as they didn't raise cigarette taxes. Well, then that guy, the Korean director general, ended up suddenly passing away. And this guy, this health minister, Frank, like he got pushed back up to the running or whatnot. And it's just like, wow, but you're like kind of in bed with big tobacco and stuff. And like, but also it's like, did you even just do the FCTC because you wanted to be director general? And yeah, and then their smoking rates haven't gone down substantially since then. And then now it's just like, yeah, with the whole banning of the safer alternatives is like, this is tobacco chaos. It's great.
Yeah, the story behind this foolishness will make you a moon howling conspiracy theorist. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's
only one country. I'm not sure it gets worse. Okay, I mean, like once you start going to the way more lower middle income countries that have way more corrupt government officials. Yeah.
Well, I remember too that the India ban, that was like overnight too, right? There was no.
Oh yeah,
it was just bam. It was like nope, bye. Yeah, I remember that. I think we were all shocked when that happened.
One was specifically applauded, and I want to say the Health Ministry of India, I don't know what it's called, but received all sorts of accolades and recognition from the World Health Organization for banning safer alternatives to cigarettes that are, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the male, I'm sure Lindsey has this number. I don't know what the percentage of adult males who smoke cigarettes or biddies in, biddies, is that right, in India? But it's pretty damn high.
Yeah, I got the numbers for regionals. Actually, it's like I think it's like almost like 40%, 30 to 40%.
Yeah. It was. That's. I think that might be down, but it's ridiculous.
For all of India and some of the states of India, it gets way worse. Like, is when you go through all the, especially. Yeah, we get to the more rural countries or the more rural, because India has states like we do with their regions and everything. So you get to some of these states, and it's kind of insane. I've seen some where it's high as it's like 60%. And what pisses me off the most, because it's like 60% of men are smoking and like 5% of women. And it's just like, well, oh my God, like, and you can see where, oh, well, yeah, there's probably not a lot of equality over in that country. Who knew that, tobacco is the great equalizer for men and women.
Yeah, you were right, Lindsey. It's 267 million people vape in India.
Yeah.
Smoke. Sorry, smoke.
Tobacco products. Yeah, smoking, using smokeless. Yeah.
I don't know how many smokers there are in the world outside of India, but just in India alone sounds like it might rival the total of the rest of the world in aggregate. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
There's 1.3 billion smokers, so they probably are the largest contingent of smokers, and then it would go probably China after that. China probably might have more people using tobacco. You just can't get data out of it.
Yeah. It says 12.
By the United States, actually.
Yeah, 12.8% are male, 1.1% are females. So the females know what's up. They know what's up.
Pretty well.
We always do.
Yeah, dudes are idiots. Sorry.
What is wrong with us, Philip?
I've been trying to figure that one out for the better part of the last 35 years. I have nothing for you, John.
Women are like, yeah. Women are like, yeah, keep smoking.
I wanted to bring you answers, and I failed you. I'm sorry. So here we are.
It is crazy. Timmy.
FedEx, right back.
You got the next one there, Tim?
Yes, I do. But hold on 1 second. Hold on. Wait, I do have the next one, but hold on. All right, there you go. There's Harley and her birthday back today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So cute.
I don't have a.
You know how hard it was to keep that hat on her head?
There we go. We'll do this with her. Happy birthday.
Yeah, I don't want to get into this. Oh, did I get rid of Philip by accident?
No, he left beforehand.
Yeah. He jumped back in. All
right. Okay. Hold on. I took him off the stage by accident. That's what happened. I was trying to do all this fancy stuff, and
you got technical. You gotta be careful. Technology, Tim. Technology. It's a bitch.
Well, the thing went away. Like the little box went away to share. So
I do have a picture of some Jello. I can put it out there. Jello.
Okay, here we go. Now we're back in business. All right. I do have the next article, John.
You are the best, Tim.
There you go. Is that this one?
Yeah.
I thought there was 3, links sent, but I found out it's only 2. They were 2 were the
yeah.
same.
The other one was a mislink, so I redid it again.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, CASAA. U.S. Consumer THR Group will shut down. We did read their letter last week, so most people should be abreast of what's going on. Just real quick, want to say hello to Microwave. Left you on 1 second. Oven is in the house. See and so just let it be. Is in the house from Germany, all the way from Berlin. Good to see you, though. Welcome to the show. The Consumer Advocates for Smoke-Free Alternatives Association, better known as CASAA, will wind down operations and end its work this summer. The group has been advocating for tobacco harm reduction since 2009. On May 27th, an email to CASAA members from the group's executive director, Alex Clark, announced that CASAA would cease its legislative advocacy work by the end of August. He said that the group would use some of its remaining funds to maintain its website. In the interest of full disclosure, I have been a CASAA member since 2013 and joined the CASAA board of directors in 2018. Like everyone on the board, I have received no financial compensation for my work. CASAA represents nicotine consumers only, not industry. CASAA launched in October 2009 as a 501c4 tax-exempt organization organized largely by vapers to advocate against efforts by the FDA and tobacco control organizations to limit the availability of vaping products. Since then, CASAA has organized consumer opposition to restrictive laws, commented on policy issues, sent representatives to speak at hearings and public gatherings, and collected thousands of testimonials from consumers who used reduced harm nicotine products. Along the way, CASAA inspired vapers in other countries to form consumer organizations and was a founding member of the International Network of Nicotine Consumer Organizations, INCO. Due at least in part to CASAA organized consumer opposition, the proposed state and local laws, hundreds of potentially damaging bills and ordinances have been stopped across the country since 2009. Some other CASAA accomplishments include CASAA members funded the first major study on e-cigarette toxicology, published in 2013 by Professor Igor Burstin of the Drexel University School of Public Health, published the historical timeline of vaping and electronic cigarettes and numerous other educational features on its website, filled amicus curiae briefs in support of lawsuits challenging the FDA, published regular blogs, podcasts, and video streams to inform vapers and other nicotine consumers about current events and issues, submitted comments on numerous rules proposed by the FDA, been quoted in numerous newspaper and TV stories. Despite frequently being described as a vaping or tobacco industry organization, CASAA represents only consumers of reduced harm nicotine products. That mostly means vapers, but also includes a significant number of people who use snus and smokeless tobacco, nicotine pouches, and even some users of nicotine replacement therapy products like nicotine gum and lozenges. CASAA's mission statement reads, ensure the availability of a variety of effective, affordable, reduced harm alternatives to smoking. As a consumer advocacy nonprofit organization, CASAA's work is dedicated to empowering consumers and representing their interest in various legislative policymaking and rulemaking arenas. Of course, CASAA has worked closely with vaping industry groups, especially state-level groups that represent manufacturers and vape shops, to keep track of legislative threats. But the organization has never represented the industry and has never supported laws that favor one kind of vaping or nicotine product over another. Same old story, the money ran out. Currently, CASAA has about 250,000 members. If you gave $2 a piece,
yeah,
that's $1 million.
Yeah.
People who have joined to receive notifications when proposed laws and regulations threaten to pass in their state or city, to express opinions on proposed bills through CASAA's calls to action, and some who support CASAA's mission enough to donate. I'm not questioning anything they've done. I mean, I think that they've worked on an honest, like an honest system. Maybe one thing that would have worked is kind of like, for your membership, it's $2 a year. You know, if you got 250,000 members, if everybody just chipped in $2, they'd be raking in $1 million. I mean, what, you might lose a few because they're like, oh, I don't have $2. I'm gonna run over to TikTok and give my $2 on roses to somebody who's
did that when they
battling in a bathroom.
What year was that when VTA did that, where they like started a consumer
part? Yeah, the membership platform. Yeah.
They charged people, but they didn't do anything with it. So I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, if it's the differential between CASAA wanting to continue moving forward, doing the good work that they do, and it's a matter of not being able to get the money, I don't think $2 on anybody's stroke is going to be that tough of a bill to pay. But if the energy is running out as well, and there's not really any desire to keep doing all this stuff, and they want to focus elsewhere or take their expertise to other organizations, then so be it. Fine. I mean, you know, I'm not criticizing them one bit. I just this part of the article paints a picture like they can't go on because of money.
Maybe they could be like doing more fundraiser drives like NPR does. Like every 3 months, NPR does hey, the whole week long. Okay, so I mean that's how you do it too, because at some point somebody will be like, oh, okay, I've heard you enough all week. I'm gonna give you.
Well, and that's kind of
$5,
Yeah, and they're like, oh, it only costs $1 a day or something, and like.
Throwing a tote bag,
Right. I mean, and I guess what I'm gathering from this is if they wanted to continue to keep doing this, then there would be an emboldened plea to do something to try to pull the money in.
They did last year. They did a membership with what was it, like a half day or something, or a whole day or whatnot, and then
they did with various people showing up on the CASAA Live podcast,
24 hours,
and it was great. It was great. I'm going to say this: I have nothing but gratitude, and I'm actually very, very upset about this, and I don't want to say too much, but let's just say that I've been a member of CASAA, and one who had a monthly, not much, but gave them a little bit monthly, and since I don't know, since everything began, 2011, 2010, maybe earlier, and my heart absolutely breaks over this. And it's not that I didn't think this might be in the mail. It's just Julie Wasner and Alex Clark and etc. These are just my heroes, and I understand what they were doing, trying to do, trying to keep it volunteer donations only, trying not to do what VTA did. Just wasn't. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. It just wasn't the way they wanted to do it, and like I said, nothing but gratitude.
I give CASAA credit. They were, especially when these vape directory bills were coming out, because I was still at TVA, and I told my old boss, I was like, "There's no way in hell we can support these. Like, I'm not backtracking on this one. I mean, I've been complaining about the PMTA forever, and now I'm gonna have conservative lawmakers and states endorse them and enforce them. Like, oh hell no! I mean, I'm not big tobacco. I'm gonna break my my neck if I backtrack like that, because I have a spine. Sucks. It really does suck. It goes back to that whole intersection of what we're seeing, I think, on every all of this. But I don't think CASAA is really officially done. I think that they've got opportunities to work with some other organizations and stuff, and maybe even go more, because ENCO isn't. ENCO has lost a little bit of its thunder as well, and just there needs to be some more coordination with the global stuff, I think, and then coming from the top down. But that's just my opinion.
I agree with you.
Well, if Alex needs anything, he knows who to ask.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Alex, if you need anything from me, let me know. So
CASAA currently receives about $2,000 a month from consumer donors. Really? That's it?
Wow.
But in order to run as a professional advocacy group, CASAA needs at least $10,000 a month, and ideally more. In recent years, the slack has been picked up by donations from businesses, mostly large tobacco companies. However, CASAA's refusal to support or at least ignore the tobacco industry's attempts to control the vaping market through PMTA registry laws and similar legislation has led to funding from this source drying up, with the exception of Philip Morris International's continued donations. Without funding, CASAA is unable to pay for the software necessary to track legislation and target communications to members. It also has been unable to pay CEO Alex Clark, the only paid full-time employee CASAA has ever had. Since last summer, Clark has been CEO since 2017. Finally, a personal observation. Winding down and closing a nonprofit organization is itself a complicated job, although I haven't done any of the actual work. But bringing to an end what has been a labor of love for all involved is a truly miserable endeavor. For me, there is some guilt over the board being unable to secure funding to continue. None of us showed any talent for fundraising, and ultimately we were unable to acquire the necessary dollars. The misery for me has been somewhat mitigated by pride in CASAA and its people who have remained true to the organization's mission, despite encountering obstacles that eventually made it impossible to continue. Vapers and other nicotine consumers deserve an organization to represent them. It's sad that CASAA will no longer be able to do it.
If I may, if you just read that to me and didn't tell me whose words those were, I would have known it was Alex Clark. The man just has an organic way of putting things.
Yep. Certainly has a way of saying it. Yep.
When I first read that, I cried. I really did. Yeah. Honestly, I did. It hurt. It hurt big time.
Yeah.
This is one of the better humans I've ever met.
I've been worried about them since like last year when the fundraising was going on and everything, and just seeing a lot of the a lot of people trying to act like they're Jesus, I guess is the best way to say it. Instead of working with, like, I know what I'm good at. The tools that I bring to the table are I can do the numbers, okay? And sometimes I can actually coordinate people together too really well. And that's about it. Don't want to sit there and talk to lawmakers and try to convince them. I don't want to sit there and have to talk to the large tobacco companies and all that stuff, like the other people have those skills,
Yeah, it's sad because it brings me back to, I think, a problem that this, I'm not going to say it's everybody that are consumers in this industry, but it just, for me, it seems like if there's not some sort of giveaway attached to a donation, no one does anything. And it's gotten to that point where I feel like, I mean, I hate saying his name, but, the king of vape reviews had to give away a bunch of stuff just to get people to head on over to CASAA. To do something about it, and he put a huge packages together, thousands of dollars worth of vape gear. I'm not going to say his name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Just to get people involved with CASAA. And I remember that, I think that was maybe 6 or 7 years ago when he did that. And it just seems like if there's not some sort of giveaway associated with some sort of fundraising, we're not interested. And it's kind of
that, or a giveaway, or a trip, or somewhere, stuff that, I mean, the organization, I mean, those type of events, you do make money. You spend a lot of money, but you tend to, when you're a group like that, and that's a fundraising thing, you're gonna make money off of it as well and stuff.
It's unfortunate, but our industry grew so quick. I mean, when you think about it, from nothing, and I think so many people grew up in the vape, starting to vape, and they didn't even find out about CASAA. I mean, the old timers like us, we all knew about CASAA because we knew the importance of CASAA and what they were doing. But I think so many people just didn't get that opportunity to know. And I mean, that was one of my street beats, is what I call it. I used to go around way before I started doing any kind of internet stuff, and I'd go to all these different businesses and say, do you know about CASAA? Do you know about them? Do you know what they can do for you? Are you keeping up with the laws? And most of them would say, never heard of them. It's unfortunate, and I think that's where
our state association here, and our state association of where I'm at in Florida, none of them have heard of Florida smoke free.
Right.
There's a lot of apathy now, I think, with the because vaping's a little bit. I think there's just apathy, and a lot of people who just get into the game and don't really know anything about it. They just quit smoking and didn't realize that there's a huge movement that made this actually grow. With CASAA was the first, I think, it was the first actual national organization that was going out to lawmakers. I know they came out before SFATA, and they definitely came out before BTA and ABM and everything. It's a really what's sad about it is that, you know, they were the original, the OGs and everything. Really explaining it to, you know,
and with the push of disposables, you know, the guy at the convenience store is not going to ask you, are you a member of CASAA? He could care less, you know. And for in the beginning, you're right, Michelle. I don't think very many vape shop owners knew about CASAA. I don't think any of them here in Modesto knew who it was until it started getting pushed to, hey, put some paperwork out on your countertop. Whether they take it or don't, at least it's something they can grab and read and get a hold of links and go and visit and become members of CASAA. I mean, 250,000 people, that's a huge database of members. And yeah,
Alex, if you want to give me access to your data, we can make a huge paper out of it and everything. Maybe
I remember Ethan Nadelman saying this once, and I want to say it was during a CASAA live Twitter space. I think it was Alex and maybe Matt Cully were part of it. He made a really good point how, you know, marijuana decriminalization and, you know, marijuana initiative has been going on for, you know, since the 80s. It's something that's been hard fought, and they're finally, you know, making some progress now. And he sort of equated the position that tobacco harm reduction was into. It's a very new concept, and all the pushback is not unlike the pushback he received when he first got into you know, legalizing marijuana, or at the very least decriminalizing, you know, drugs in general. And I always think about that, and it's not a reason or an excuse. It just is.
Yeah.
Can I respond to Mike Lawyer's little comment about the millionaire, the multi-billionaire? We have millions of dollars in this industry. I've been to conferences where I've seen $1 million in suits. Okay, the disposables is worth a lot. The manufacturers need to be ponying up, and it shouldn't just be.
I agree with that.
Manufacturers, and they shouldn't be. I can tell you that some of the large vape manufacturers, tend to only give to a certain organization. Not going to call them out and who they are or whatnot and stuff, and that's because
Oh, I remember in the height.
I can't. I got to be quiet and professional. Okay? But I can tell you that there's money in this industry. If you go to a vape convention or whatever, vape show or whatnot, those booths cost $100,000. Okay.
Yeah, they do. Yep, I know for a fact. Yeah. Hey, I remember in the height of ZampleBox, I think ZampleBox ended up giving them over $100,000. You know, and they were the highest. They were the highest donor at that time, and I was just like, where's everybody else? Where's, you know, you see, usually that starts some sort of chain reaction, but it didn't. You went through the list and you just, you know, hey, grant $25 is $25. Don't get me wrong, but it just like, you know, where was everybody else? And for me, I felt like if you owned a vape shop, you should have been part of CASAA. You should have been some sort of member. You should have been donating to CASAA monthly. You should have had their paperwork up on your counter.
If you sell manufacturer, whatnot, there should be, you know, and I think they did. I don't know, did they have different membership levels or whatnot? I know some of the more trade associations have different
levels. They did. I remember
I think they did it once gold, anyway.
Silver, gold, silver, and bronze. I forget what company that was doing the gold, silver, and bronze membership packages. I think that was VTA, wasn't it?
Might have been. I think. Well, I know a lot of state trade associations do it that way too. Yeah. I mean, if you've got 10 shops, you know, you should be paying more than somebody who's got one shop. I mean, you're getting a hell of a lot more representation from that organization. So,
do you feel, any of you guys feel that anyone else is going to step up to fill this void, or you think it's just pretty much dead in the water?
It's pretty tall drink of water to start up an organization like that. I mean, you really have to have someone who, with the spirit inside of them, to say that I can't let this thing die and try to run with that. I think those would be tough shoes to fill, to recreate another one. Maybe CASAA goes a little bit quiet for a year or so, and then you know they get reignited or something like that.
God, I almost forgot to give a shout out to Danielle Jones. My Lord, she worked her butt off, and everyone gets a little bit frustrated. But no, I can't think of any group that. Let's just say that, you know, as long as there's been a reason to advocate, they've been there. And I learned a lot from people like Julie and Alex. And I don't know if you're referring to them reinterpreting themselves elsewhere, or if a different group altogether.
A different group, or even themselves. I mean, I get the
fact there are different groups that are very good at specific things. I think CASAA was very good at just about everything they did. Unfortunately, when it comes to grassroots consumers only, well, I hate to say that. Well, I think this is a failure. It's not. Let's just say that I really would have liked to have seen more, more involvement from consumers on like you said, a couple bucks a month. And CASAA did try, and as Alex said, he's a terrible salesman. No.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to sell that.
Yeah.
Right. Would you think it would it have been personally yourselves? Would it have been bad to take Phillip Morris money?
They admitted that they took for it. They admitted that they just admitted in that article that they got more.
No, they admit taking it, but then refusing it.
Volunteer contributions, and I can tell you, as somebody who's at different organizations, whatever. I mean, I don't know exactly how much money was ever given, but like, as long as they're not telling you what to do with it, I don't think there's a problem with it. I got a perfect example of that one. That booklet that I wrote, I got a copy of it. It's just busted up because it was in my car. That was supposed to be a booklet about nicotine. I sat there and I was just like, yeah, no, we don't need nicotine. I've been sitting here, we're dealing with these state lawmakers. They need like a Bible and explaining to them, like, in basic layman terms, what the hell vaping is. So as long as I don't think there's a problem taking money from anybody, as long as they're not telling you what you can and cannot do with that money and stuff. Right. So, and I do think that it's kind of disingenuous of some of the companies to pull their money because they push back against, the specific pieces of legislation that, again, that goes against their mission statement. I mean, you're asking them to actually, disregard their bylaws and disregard, that's kind of like to see you next Tuesday. That's really just kind of douchey on that one.
Yeah.
Well, I would add. I would add also that, CASAA really put everything on a silver platter for anyone who is at all even remotely interested in advocating from the consumer space. And I think what you take away from an organization like CASAA at the end of it, if anyone, we certainly know, but I'm just saying you take away that lesson that, you won't always have somebody there to do the work for you. Like if you care enough about it, you need to get on the internet and go look at what bills are passing through your state and through your legislature and be concerned about it as an individual, despite the fact that, they provided a hub for everyone to kind of, converge on to get that information. But if people really give a damn about it, and it's not about the $2, then, people would look. I mean, while we were talking about it, I was just checking on things in Georgia just to see what's going on. But that's incumbent upon us to do some of the homework and footwork ourselves. So, we learn a valuable lesson from them. They're consumers. We're consumers. We're all in the same boat here. We're all using the same oars. So,
yeah, it's sad when you see, they mentioned it on this show, but when a CASAA member comes on our show and says that less than 5% of the people are actually opening the emails that are designated for your area, like we've talked about before, you're not getting spammed by CASAA. You're getting something that is specific for you. It isn't nothing. Every now and then there was some federal stuff in there, but basically, if you got an email from CASAA, it was about your area, what was going on in your area. And when you have less than 5% actually opening the emails and reading them, that's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people have grown up with cigarettes, and I think they're always going to be there. And I think that point has always made it to the public. Cigarettes will always be there, and I think so many vapors just think, yeah, right. This isn't going to go away. It's not cigarettes, but it's nicotine. It's not going to go away.
I feel that way. It's not going to go away. I mean, they can't.
Well, it won't. But we're not going to let it. But I mean, that's only because there's so many of us fighting for it, But the people that are just not doing anything, I don't think get it. I don't think they understand how close they have come.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it, you know.
Well, do you feel this pushes some of the local state advocacy groups to do a little more harder work? I guess. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to be honest. It's going to be
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a state coalition meeting tomorrow, guys, at 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get on it, let me know. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter or whatnot, and stuff. I'll get you into the Facebook group. So.
Yeah. You can. Yeah, if you send.
It's not anything official. It's Safada, it's me, Danny from Tennessee, Nick from just trying to get people together so we have some cohesion, some sharing ideas. I know Danny worked a lot with Texas and helping shape the final language of that bill, kind of modeling it off of the language that he used in Tennessee. And everything, and I mean so just try and nobody's gonna it's not gonna be anybody's thing. It's just literally gonna be it's gonna be like a club, okay?
Yeah. No, I saw you were doing. I saw you were doing that, and I think it's a great idea. What time tomorrow?
It's 3 p.m. Central Time. You're in Central, right?
Yes, I am. And
I can add you to the group, actually. So
yeah, I can't say for sure that I'll be able to make it, but I would like to.
Okay, it's a recurring thing. We've only had one meeting so far, but it was really good spirits and everything. So we might not have been.
Is it always on Thursday?
We got it always on Thursday right now, but we can always, as we get more members, change it up as it needs to go. So
yeah. All right, guys, that's it for us. Phillip, it's good seeing your face again on the screen. I'm glad you're back, and
it's so good to see you that I'm going to let that Phil pass. I'm going to let that.
Yeah. Hey, John, I guess we had some latecomers to the show, so I don't know if you want to recap.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the people on the back half of the show. You want me to do it?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So
I'm back. That's it. Good night.
No.
Back. That's all that matters. Damn it!
Thank goodness he's back. So for some of the people who joined in a little late, I know every week used to the 2-hour show, but we're just going to make some programming changes just for the summertime. Right now, it's kind of quiet on the news home front anyway. We're going to focus primarily too on a lot more of the federal stuff, as opposed to some of the more granular state level stuff, but we're going to shorten the show for the summertime down to an hour. All the same faces and places and people, you beautiful people you see here. Just going to be a shorter program. So just didn't want people showing up, trying to get in a little late, and then we're like, where the hell did we go? Are we still doing a show yet? We're still doing a show. Here. Yeah, we're giving back everybody 60 minutes of their life to go advocate for vaping. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. Right. That's exactly.
At least do that.
Yeah, at least do that. Perfect. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to find out who's advocating in your area. With CASAA taking a step back, this is your opportunity to see who's doing what in your area. I mean, Lindsey and Michelle have, Mr. Nick Orlando out there who's just busting his butt every day.
He's great. Yeah, it's great. He keeps trying to get me to go be the president because I'm the closest one to the Capitol. No, I think Michelle might be a little bit closer.
Yeah, I am, but I'm not ready to go.
She comes to Tallahassee, so she can keep me from punching a lawmaker.
Well, it's tough.
Don't throw me under the bus now, Lindsey.
Yeah. There are certain things that are inevitable in this world. You punching a lawmaker, it's already happened. It's going. It's in. It's coming. We don't know.
I'm sure it probably will. Or at least cussing one out at some point.
Hell, I remember having to be put down in my seat so I didn't do the same thing in the Alabama House once.
Yeah, it's tough because if you don't have that, that ability, that ability to public speaking, it's tough. And then being able to control your emotions while you're up there and try to be as professional as possible. And I think we've had a few back in the day that I did advocate great, but once the pressure was added to them, they showed a different side of them. So I'm not happy that some of those people are gone because I love passion, and when you show that much passion, but when you're in,
you can't scream at lawmakers,
right? No. Exactly.
Yeah, the public speaking part has never been a problem for me. It's sitting down while the opposition speaks and keeping that seat has been a bit of a struggle.
So I've been behind the scenes talking to lawmakers on an individual basis, and it's just like, oh my effing God, you are a moron. To do that for just come out of your mouth, like, oh God, I would slap you.
Yeah, you might think that. I couldn't possibly comment. Thank you.
And the one thing that bugs me the most about that whole thing before we go is just the time limit that is given to you to express your thoughts, on an industry that you're trying to save, and you have all this passion built up and you're told you got to do it in 6 minutes. And it's just like, okay.
Actually, we had 3 minutes, and I think lawmakers go to sleep somewhere after 2. So
I had 1 minute, and New Mexico only does 1 minute, and then like Hawaii this year did a 1 minute time thing. Okay, but I talk about.
How the hell do you do that?
Yeah, I think 6 minutes is far too much time. Somewhere between 1 and 3 is the sweet spot.
In a hearing for 3 days, if you had 6 minutes, okay? I mean, I've been in a hearing where they gave 2 minutes, and we were there for 12 hours on the same single bill. It was like the Colorado's flavor ban a few years ago. I was like,
and I believe both pro and against, and all sides should have their time in front of the mic. Just don't eyeball me while you're speaking, please.
I think they should let you do it kind of like a court hearing. Like, okay, fine, I go up, CTFK guy goes up, I say my minute, he gives his minute, I rebut his stuff, he rebuts my stuff, and like. Give us each 3 minutes to just do that. I'm going to ask one of these chairmen.
It almost sounds like OG, English Parliament.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because they don't really have really good arguments.
I missed Congress style debate in high school. I really did.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. We have graffiti night back in Modesto, so I'm going to go check out some old cars this Friday, so it should be fun. Look forward to taking some photos. Everybody look into the camera and wave goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
It will end, I promise. Here it goes.